Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today we're doing something a little different. We are stripping away all the noise.
All of it.
Yeah, we're ignoring the headlines, the press conference cliches, all the coach speak. We're just looking at a stack of sources, game tape, advanced metrics, scouting reports that frankly tell a brutal story about what just happened in the NFL playoffs.
Brutal is the only word for it. It was a massacre of expectations.
It really was. And I think we need to set the stage here because there's this misconception that the playoffs are just week 19.
Right.
You play the season, you get your seed, you just keep playing football.
Right.
But the sources we're looking at today prove that is a lie. The playoffs are a completely different sport.
It's a pressure cooker. I mean, in the regular season, you can get by on talent. You can mask your flaws because, you're playing a 4-12 team or you're playing a team that didn't really scout you that hard.
Yeah.
But the playoffs, the whistle blows and suddenly every single weakness you managed to hide for 4 months is just illuminated.
And that is what we are digging into today.
Yeah.
We watched favorites fall. We watched identities. Teams we thought we knew completely disintegrate. And I have to be honest with you right out of the gate here.
Okay.
I look at these results, specifically looking at Baltimore and Cincinnati, and I feel like we're being too harsh. I look at the data, and honestly, I see bad luck. I see fluke plays.
Oh, no.
I see production that just didn't match the final score.
See, I knew you were going to go there, and I'm going to stop you right now.
You don't buy the bad luck narrative.
I absolutely do not. To call it bad luck is to let them off the hook. It's an excuse. What we watched this weekend wasn't about luck. It was about the brutal truth of playoff football. Aggression versus control.
Okay.
The teams that fell didn't fall because of a bad bounce. They fell because when the lights got bright, they lacked discipline. They had the talent, sure, but they had zero control.
Okay, well, we are absolutely going to fight about that because when I look at a team like the Ravens, I see a team that did almost everything right except for the final score. But we'll unpack all of that. We have 4 specific case studies on the docket. We're going to dissect the Ravens' self-destruction, the Bengals' total inability to adapt, the Giants having a full-blown psychological collapse, and the Chiefs, who are winning, but look very weird doing it.
And we can't forget the monster waiting at the end of the road.
The Super Bowl. We have a massive debate coming up at the end of this deep dive about the Bills versus the 49ers. 2 juggernauts, 2 completely different philosophies. But let's start with the heartbreak. Let's start with Baltimore.
You can't live on the edge forever. That is the headline for the Ravens.
See, this is where I get animated. I've been reading the breakdown of this game against the Colts, and I feel like the narrative is just completely unfair. People are flattening this loss into a simple sentence. They turned the ball over, so they lost. And sure, turnovers are bad. I'm not saying turnovers are good, but that ignores how dominant large parts of this game actually were for Baltimore.
Dominant in what sense? In yardage.
In every sense.
Yeah.
Look at Lamar Jackson. I'm looking at the drive charts right here. He was moving the ball consistently. He was stretching the field vertically. He was making guys miss in the pocket.
Okay.
He kept the Indianapolis defense under immense pressure almost the entire night. If you look at the total yardage, if you look at the yards per play, this wasn't a case of Baltimore being outplayed. They were moving the rock.
That's true.
This was a case of Baltimore outpredicting the opponent, but just getting unlucky at the worst possible times.
But that's exactly the problem. You are separating the production from the game. You're acting like yardage is the currency of football. It's not. Points are.
Of course, points are, but...
And outproducing the opponent is completely irrelevant if you hand them extra possessions. The Ravens didn't lose because they couldn't move the ball. No one is arguing that. They lost because they couldn't value the ball.
But that is their style. That is the Baltimore identity. They play aggressive, high-octane football. They attack gaps. They push the tempo. They ask Lamar to be Superman, to create stress on every single snap.
And that's fine in Week 10.
And let's be real, that style wins you a lot of games. It won them games all season long. You can't ask a guy to be a dynamic playmaker and then get mad when he tries to make a play.
You absolutely can when the margin disappears. And that is what the playoffs are. The margin for error shrinks to 0. Living on the edge works in October against a bad team.
But you have to take shots to score.
It does not work in January against a disciplined team. The playoffs don't reward aggression without restraint. They punish it. I mean, look at the mechanism of the loss. We aren't just talking about bad luck bounces. We're talking about decision-making.
I feel like you're trying to tame him.
No, I'm trying to make him win. You have to take calculated shots. Look at the interceptions. Every single one flipped the momentum. But more importantly, Look at the field position. Every time Baltimore turned it over, they gave the Colts a short field. What does that do?
Well, it helps them, obviously.
It lets the Colts control the pace. It hands them the game script.
Explain that for the listener who might not be looking at the charts. What do you mean by game script in this context?
When you give a team like Indianapolis the ball at, say, their own 40-yard line, they don't have to take risks.
Right.
They can run the ball, they can throw safe short passes, they can grind the clock, they are in complete control. If Baltimore punts the ball and pins them deep, Indianapolis has to be aggressive to get out of the hole.
So the turnovers give them comfort.
By turning it over, Baltimore literally handed Indianapolis the luxury of playing conservative football. They allowed the Colts to suffocate the game.
Okay, so what is the alternative then? Are you saying we should turn Lamar Jackson into a game manager, just have him hand the ball off and throw checkdowns? Because that feels like a waste of a generational talent.
No, not at all.
That feels like buying a Ferrari and just driving it in a school zone.
I'm not saying you turn him into a robot. I'm saying you teach situational awareness. There were moments in that game where patience would have been a win, moments where the pocket collapsed, and instead of trying to spin out and throw a miracle crossbody pass, you take the sack.
You want him to settle.
You live to punt. You play defense. I want him to survive. Instead, Baltimore kept swinging. They were trying to hit a home run on every pitch, even when the game situation begged them to just hit a single. It's hero ball.
And sometimes you need the hero.
And hero ball kills you in the playoffs.
It's just hard to tell a tiger to change its stripes in the middle of the hunt, though. That's my point. When you build your whole offense around Lamar makes magic, you have to live with the times the magic trick fails.
Then look at the other side of the field. Look at Anthony Richardson.
Okay, fair. But Richardson wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire. He was fine. He was, frankly, kind of boring.
He was winning. And that's the contrast. Anthony Richardson didn't chase Lamar's production. He wasn't trying to match the highlight reel. He just played the game that was in front of him.
So, he managed the game.
He didn't make the catastrophic mistake. He took the checkdowns. He threw the ball away when he had to.
It just feels so conservative. It feels like playing not to lose rather than playing to win.
In the playoffs, often they are the same thing. Indianapolis understood that playoff football is about control, not volume. Richardson executed the plan. Baltimore never adjusted to that reality. They kept trying to out-athlete the game, and the game punished them for it.
It's a tough pill to swallow because you look at the potential of that Ravens offense and you feel like they left it all on the table. But let's pivot to a loss that honestly bothers me even more. Because if the Ravens lost because they were too aggressive, I feel like the Cincinnati Bengals lost because they disappeared.
Stars don't mean solutions. That's the takeaway for Cincinnati.
Exactly. I am deeply frustrated with Cincinnati. The Ravens loss, I can wrap my head around it. It was high risk, high reward, and the risk bit them.
Yeah.
But the Bengals, this wasn't a style loss. This was a complete lack of response. Cincinnati came into this game against Cleveland, believing their own hype. They thought, we have the talent, we have the pace, we have the explosive plays, we're just going to overwhelm them eventually.
It's the arrogance of talent. They really did. They thought they could just walk out there and be the Bengals. They thought the logo on the helmet was enough to win the game.
And that belief cost them the season. Because Cleveland never let them get comfortable. Not for 1 second. And I want to get specific here.
Right.
Because the listener needs to understand the mechanics of how a team this talented gets so completely shut down.
It's a credit to Cleveland's coaching staff. They dictated terms from the first quarter. But let's look at the specific players, because this is where the deep dive gets interesting. You have Heishel Tootin,
The offensive rookie of the year. The
Big
most
time.
electric player in the league this season, arguably.
correct. The offensive rookie of the year, a guy who has been electric all season. He changes the geometry of the field.
What do you mean by geometry in this context?
I mean that usually when Tootin is on the field, the defense has to spread out. They have to worry about the sideline. They have to worry about the deep ball. He stretches the defense thin, which opens up lanes for everyone else.
Right.
But what happened in this game?
He was a ghost. He was invisible. And you have to give Cleveland credit. They basically said, fine, you're the rookie of the year. We're going to build our entire defensive game plan around erasing you from the game.
And it worked. They likely used bracket coverage, putting a corner underneath him and a safety over the top, basically dedicating 2 defenders to him on every snap. They neutralized him. But here's the critical point. Good teams have a plan B.
And the Bengals didn't have one.
Great teams can pivot. Once Tootin couldn't control the tempo, once that primary weapon was holstered, Cincinnati didn't have another way to settle the game.
That's the thing that kills me.
Yeah.
They didn't slow it down. They didn't try to grind out drives with the running game. They just started pressing.
And pressing is poison in the playoffs. When you press, you force things.
You saw it with the quarterback play, holding the ball too long, trying to force balls into tight windows because they felt like they had to get a chunk play to make up for the lost time.
Exactly. When you press, you ignore the easy stuff, looking for the hard stuff. And it wasn't just the offense. Look at the defensive side. Caleb Ransaw.
Great season. Huge fan of his.
He's had a great season. I'm a huge fan of his game, but Cleveland targeted him. They went right at him.
That's not disrespect, though. That is postseason scouting.
Precisely. In a regular season, you play your scheme. You run your defense. In the playoffs, you attack the person. Cleveland looked at the tape and said, Caleb Ransaw is aggressive. He likes to jump routes. Let's use double moves. Let's pump fake.
They preyed on his tendencies.
They forced him into uncomfortable spots. They made him react instead of dictate.
And he crumbled a bit under that targeted pressure. He looked lost out there.
It goes back to the comfort zone. Cincinnati relies on their stars winning their individual battles. They rely on Tootin being faster than the guy guarding him. They rely on Ransaw being more athletic.
And when that didn't work,
When Cleveland shut down the stars, neutralized Tootin, targeted Ransaw, Cincinnati looked lost. They didn't know how to win a game where they weren't the ones being flashy.
that's the brutal truth right there. Cleveland didn't fear the stars. They planned for them. And the synthesis of that segment is really just talent gets you to the dance. We see that every year. But adaptability, that is what keeps you alive.
100%.
If you can't change your pitch when the fastball isn't working, you're going home.
Precisely. You have to be able to win in multiple ways. Cincinnati only knew how to win one way.
Speaking of knowing how to win, or forgetting how to win, we have to talk about the Giants and the Cowboys. Because this wasn't about scheme. This wasn't about neutralizing a rookie of the year with bracket coverage. This felt psychological.
The weight of the moment. That is the only way to describe what happened.
Yes, the narrative around this is Dallas played better. And sure, okay, they did, but that oversimplifies it. The Giants didn't lose because they lacked ability. They lost because the moment changed who they were.
You could see it on the opening drive. Go back and watch the tape. Just look at the body language of the Giants offense.
Tight, so stiff.
Extremely tight. Every decision looked heavy. You know that feeling when you're trying so hard not to mess up that you can't actually perform? That was the New York Giants.
Conservative play calls. Hesitation on throws. I saw throws where the quarterback double clutched. He saw the receiver open, he started the motion, but then he hesitated. Just for a split second.
And that's all it takes.
But in the NFL, a split second is the difference between a completion and a pick six.
Exactly. It felt like they were trying not to make a mistake versus trying to impose themselves. They were playing defensively on offense.
And Dallas, complete opposite.
Oh, complete opposite. Dallas came out swinging. They attacked early. They trusted their preparation. And the thing that impressed me, even when the game was close, even when the Giants punched back a little bit, Dallas didn't retreat. They didn't go into a shell.
That comes down to experience, doesn't it? I mean, just having been there before.
It comes down to reps. It comes down to experience in high-stakes moments. Dallas has been here. They know what the pressure feels like. They know that the air gets thinner in January. The Giants, they played like the pressure was a physical weight sitting on their shoulders.
It's that old saying, right? Pressure makes diamonds, or bursts pipes.
I like to say, pressure doesn't create flaws. It reveals them.
That's good.
The flaws were always there for the Giants. Maybe a lack of confidence in certain deep reads, maybe some hesitation in the play calling. But in the regular season, you can hide that. You can play loose because the consequences aren't terminal. Under the playoff spotlight, it's all revealed.
And the Giants weren't ready for the reveal. Dallas was. It's just a stark reminder that the mental game is just as real as the physical one. You can have all the X's and O's, but if you're scared to throw the ball, it doesn't matter.
Correct. Fear is a losing strategy.
Okay, so we've talked about teams that lost.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about a team that won, and I'm not sold on them. We need to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Here we go. The winning isn't enough argument. I love this one.
It's not that it's not enough, it's alarming. We need to have an honest conversation here. The Chiefs advanced, they're moving on. But this wasn't dominance. This was management. They managed the game. They didn't overwhelm anyone.
And I'm going to push back immediately. Why does that matter? If you advance, you advance. Why do you need style points? This isn't gymnastics. There are no judges giving scores for artistic impression.
Because how you win projects, how you'll do in the next round. The Chiefs used to be the boogeyman. They used to scare teams with pure volume. They would drop 40 on you and laugh. Now, they rely on precision.
And defense.
They rely on just barely doing enough.
I don't call that barely doing enough. I call that growth. I call that evolving. The Chiefs have realized something important. They don't need the fireworks to win anymore. They have a defense now.
But I call it narrowing margins. The games are staying close longer. They're letting teams hang around. And my worry is if they fall behind a team that doesn't blink, unlike the teams they play so far, managing isn't going to work. You can't manage a 14-point deficit against a juggernaut. You need the fireball.
But survival is the only metric that matters in the playoffs. You're criticizing them for not blowing people out, but I'm looking at a team that knows exactly how to win close games. Relying on experience to close games is a championship trait. It's not a weakness.
It feels like a weakness to me.
When the game is tight in the fourth quarter, Kansas City doesn't panic. Their heart rate doesn't go up. That is a superpower.
But it feels fragile. It feels like they're walking a tightrope, one slip, one turnover. And because they don't have that explosive 50 points a game offense anymore, they can't catch up.
It requires trust. You have to trust your defense. You have to trust your situational awareness. Look, you want the fireworks. You want the 50-yard bombs. The Chiefs have realized that they don't need the fireworks to win. They just need to not hand the game away.
So the unanswered question is, are the Chiefs evolving into this ruthless, efficient playoff machine? Or are they just surviving on reputation and, frankly, getting lucky that their opponents are intimidated?
I think we'll find out soon enough, but never bet against experience.
So let's zoom out. We've looked at the Ravens, Bengals, Giants, and Chiefs. If we put these four games together, what is the picture? What's the league-wide synthesis here?
It's very clear to me.
Connect the dots for us.
The pattern is about comfort and control. The teams that couldn't adjust when their comfort was taken away, they went home. That's the Bengals and the Ravens.
And the teams that valued control over flash survived. That's the Chiefs and the Colts.
Exactly. And the teams that tried to force the game back to their preferences, like the Ravens trying to live on the edge, they got exposed.
And the teams that succumbed to the pressure, like the Giants, just folded.
It all comes back to one thing. Playoff football does not care about your October performance. It doesn't care about your stats from week 6. It asks, can you execute right now under this specific pressure against this specific look?
And if the answer is no, you're cleaning out your locker. All right. We've dissected the bodies on the floor, we've analyzed the survivors, but now we have to turn our eyes forward. Because after all that chaos, after all the upsets and the stress, we are left with a Super Bowl matchup that feels colossal.
It really does. It feels inevitable in a way.
We are looking at the Buffalo Bills versus the San Francisco 49ers. And honestly, this makes sense. All the chaos pointed in this direction.
It pointed toward the teams that never had to scramble, the teams that never looked panicked.
So let's break this down. This is the main event. Let's start with the AFC representative, the Buffalo Bills. Calling them the #1 seed almost doesn't do it justice. They haven't just been winning the AFC, they have been steamrolling it.
They are playing perfect complementary football, and they are doing it in the most playoff-proof way possible. I mean, look at the defense. They are top of the league in takeaways. They are near the top in yards allowed. That isn't flashy, but man, is it deadly in January.
But we have to talk about the man under center. Because Josh Allen, I mean, he breaks most of the arguments we've had all season. Listen to these numbers. I need you to really hear this because I'm looking at the sheet and I barely believe it myself.
Okay, hit me.
6,488 passing yards.
Absurd. That's a video game number.
It's ridiculous. But here is the one that actually makes my brain hurt. An 86-7 touchdown to interception ratio. 86 touchdowns to 7 interceptions.
That shouldn't be possible.
And just for fun, throw in over 100 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. This isn't a stat line. This is mythology.
Well, wait, stop. The most important number you just read isn't the 6,000 yards. It isn't even the 86 touchdowns. It's the 7.
A 7.
7 interceptions. This is the key. This is controlled Josh Allen. Yeah. We aren't seeing the reckless, I'm going to hurdle a linebacker, Josh Allen on every play. We are seeing a guy who is dictating.
He's mastered the position. He's not chasing highlights. He is taking what the defense gives him. He's punishing mistakes. And then he's letting his defense close the door.
And that is why Buffalo feels different this year. They don't need to win a shootout. They can win ugly. They can win slow. And if you let them, they can win fast.
Which matters when you look back at what knocked out Baltimore. Buffalo doesn't beat itself. Josh Allen isn't giving you the ball.
But I am bold. If we are talking about teams built for playoff football, you cannot ignore the other sideline. We have to talk about San Francisco because the 49ers are doing this in a completely different way, and it is just as terrifying.
The 49ers machine. Physical.
Yeah.
Disciplined. Relentless.
Their defense sets the tone. They don't let games get loose. You rarely see a broken play against San Francisco. But then there is Christian McCaffrey.
The weapon.
He is having one of the most ridiculous seasons we have ever seen in the history of this bowl. Listen to this. 3,000 rushing yards.
Wait, repeat that. 3,000.
3,000 rushing yards. 45 rushing touchdowns. Plus 673 receiving yards and 5 more touchdowns through the air.
Okay, that is not just production. That is dominance. That is control. When you run for 3,000 yards, you are deciding how fast the game moves.
100%.
You're deciding when the defense gets to breathe, which is never. He forces teams to play San Francisco's style of football whether they want to or not.
Exactly. And think about the quarterback dynamic. The 49ers don't ask their quarterback to win games by himself. They ask him not to lose them. They ask him to facilitate while McCaffrey and that defense suffocate you.
It ties back to everything we've said. Teams that couldn't slow games down got exposed. San Francisco lives in that space. They love the grind.
So here is the conflict. We have two juggernauts, but they win differently.
This is where we finally disagree. I can feel it coming.
I think we do.
If it is Bills versus 49ers in the Super Bowl, if I have to put my reputation on the line right now, I am taking Buffalo.
Interesting. I'm not. I'm taking San Francisco.
And I get why you'd say that. Defense, run game, shorten the game. But here's the difference. In the Super Bowl, the possessions tighten up, the windows get smaller, and when everything tightens, elite quarterback play decides championships.
Not always.
You cannot bet against a guy with an 86-7 touchdown ratio. No one is playing cleaner, more explosive football than Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He creates margins where there aren't any.
But quarterback play only matters if the game stays in your hands. San Francisco's entire identity is built around not letting it get there. They want fewer possessions. They want fewer chances for Josh Allen to touch the ball.
But they can't always control that.
They want more wear and tear on that Buffalo defense. They want to grind you into dust.
That works until you fall behind. If Buffalo scores 2 quick touchdowns, which they can do in about 45 seconds, can San Francisco chase them? Can that system handle a track meet?
Buffalo's defense is good, but San Francisco's offense doesn't panic if it's down a score. They don't abandon who they are. They will still run CMC. They will still grind you. They know that if they stick to the script, eventually you will break.
But neither does Buffalo. That's the point. They don't force throws anymore. They don't chase points. They trust Allen to make the right decision, not just the loud one.
I just don't buy it.
I am betting on the quarterback. I am always going to bet on the elite quarterback who has a defense that gives him a margin of error.
And I'm betting on the team that controls the game without ever asking one player to be perfect. You need Josh Allen to be perfect to beat the 49ers. You don't need the 49ers QB to be perfect to beat Buffalo. You just need the system to work.
But Josh Allen has been perfect. That's what the stats say. He's thrown 86 touchdowns.
Regression comes for everyone. I trust the ground game more than the arm in the big moment. I trust the machine over the magician.
It's the ultimate clash. The immovable object versus the unstoppable force. The system versus the superstar.
It really is. And after everything we watched this postseason, the teams that cracked, the teams that pressed, the teams that couldn't adjust, it is not a coincidence that these are the last two standing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
They don't rely on comfort. They rely on structure.
They don't chase the game.
They control it.
And however this ends, the lesson from this deep dive is clear.
What's that?
The playoffs don't reward hype.
They reward execution.
Every single time.
And on that note, we're going to leave you to think about that. Who do you trust? The arm or the system? The aggression or the control? Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you after the big game.